So I just finished the second coat of varnish on the stand, and look at that sexy beast. Anyways, it's time to make the drawers, and for that I have something special planned for it. So I would actually like to put my grinder into it as well, and instead of just building a drawer for me to lift it out, I'm going to actually have it go out, swivel, and then pull back up to a more comfortable working height. I've got some rough sketches drawn, and I'm going to use these particle boards for this. So the plan is to have a base with two side pieces which gets connected to the cabinet by drawer slides, then build a sub base onto it and connect the two bases with a parallelogram mechanism so that the sub base can be lifted up, which will also lift the grinder up as well. To reduce the chance of the sub base falling down, I'm cutting a 5-degree angle onto the ends of the links. Then I can start assembling it with screws. For the metal pins, I'm using those 5mm steel rods that I got left from the pencil router project. Yeah, that should work. Let's try it with the grinder now. Yeah, definitely manageable. Okay, I definitely need to cut some cutouts over here to allow my hands to fit in. So, somewhere around about here. This area right here. Now it's time to make the swivel thing for this grinder to be able to turn around like so. The swivel base is in two parts. One gets bolted to the sub base while the other connects to the grinder. To mark the hole location for the grinder, I took off its plastic cover which had holes corresponding to the ones on the middle enclosure and used that to punch the centers. Nice! So together it should look something like this. And then this, like that. And I'll be able to grind here. However, it still has a rather large degree of freedom, so I'm going to help lock it in place by gluing in some bits of wood. While the glue is drying, I'm going to take the opportunity to finish the cabinet and put it in place. For the back, I'm using 3 pieces of MDF because that is all I had on hand and it should help add a lot of weight to it. Well, you know when your workshop is in its maximum entropy if it looks like this. What a mess. Then I attached the top, which I removed for varnishing. Now I just need to somehow get 2 people to fit through all this junk and get to my metal lathe. I'm just glad that my lathe is actually this small. If it was any bigger, I wouldn't be able to lift it up this high. And look at my stand. Oh no. Completely destroyed it. But all to add to the rusticness of it, right? It seems a little bit too high, but it's not like uncomfortable to work with, and besides it's like a little bit too late to change it. But I think I'll be able to get used to it anyways. And also, I'm not going to bolt it down just yet because there are still some places that I need to fix that might need to move it. So now I can finally put in some drawers in it. First up is the grinder lifting mechanism, and I'm using metal slides because the grinder is very heavy and it needs to be full extension. And this is where the 5-degree angle really shines. As you can see, it stops it from falling back. But just as a safety precaution in case it does decide to fall down during use, I'm going to add a eye hook. Purely for the looks, I am adding a cabinet door to it. After I've added the door, it actually bumps into the grinder and prevents it going all the way in. So I had to move the eye hook a little bit more towards the edge, which as a result I had to carve a little bit away on the door to make room for it. Other than that, I think it's a really cool design, so let's try the grinder out. Really quiet! As per promise, I'm going to make a new home for my sharpening stone pond. It is just going to be a simple drawer but without the sides and the back, just the front. I am strengthening the joint connecting the drawer front by adding in an extra piece of wood there. To help lift the sharpening stone pond out of the drawer, I'm going to modify some of my pre-made wooden handles to fit on it. Next in line, I want to store these bottles of finishes and glues, since I pretty much took their home when I took this cabinet down, and now they're pretty much homeless over there. I'm using some more old plywood from previous shop furniture, and for the drawer front I had to cut a rebate at the end to make room for the drawer slides. This drawer only has a back and a front, so to add a bit of strength I am drilling holes in them to accept the steel tube going across the top. Then I can attach the drawer slides, which I am putting them at the bottom to maximize space. Putting them on the bottom did however make it rather difficult to mount them onto the cabinet, but with a bit of luck and some shims I managed to get it in anyways. A bit of Tetris going over there, but I think I should be able to manage it since most of them are rarely used. So, who else is next? Ah yes, you kids over there. Right, you kids on the wall, in the drawer. These are going into the drawer, these are going on the wall. So minimum height will have to be around 120 to fit this 4-drawer chuck-in. These drawers are just going to be center drawers with wooden slides. So the joinery is also rather traditional. It is just rebates around the edges to hide the drawer slides and fasteners. This is what the drawer is going to look like, and now I'm going to make the bottom for it. I don't actually have a piece of wood large enough to cover the entire bottom, so I'm going to overlap 2 smaller pieces of wood with a rebate. It's a little bit too long, so I'll cut it right about here. Then I can make the drawer slides out of some more jar. To stop the drawer from accidentally tipping into the space into here, I've added another side piece to the rail to help prevent that. Just like all the previous drawer handles, I'm using a jig to help drill the holes, but this time I got Ethan to do it. Okay, so I finally got both drawers done with handles and stuff. So now comes the exciting part, loading them up. I've got it roughly organized, but I'm still hesitant about putting dividers in, like actual physical wooden dividers, because I'm still not sure how this is gonna go down, so I'm just gonna leave it at that for now. And surprisingly, I actually have some empty drawers that I don't have anything to fill up with. So that's a good sign. At least my shop is getting better, I think. Yeah, it's definitely getting better, isn't it? So to deal with that confronting pile of wood, I decided to just put them into the bottom of the cabinet. Well, one thing is for sure, I certainly will have enough space to fit all the stuff that I want, including the motor. But I definitely need to put a piece of wood across here to seal the drawers off. And also I'll need to put another piece down at the bottom. I was going to just pile up the pieces like this, but then it will make it very difficult to get the pieces from the bottom. And also I would actually like to put that motor in it, since I don't know when I'm gonna have time to continue working with it. And if I put it like this, I'll have to put the motor at the top, which will make the bottom pieces even harder to get out. So instead I'm going to try and pile up the bits of wood as if they were books. And for the motor, I'm going to put it in a corner and then have a box cover over it, and so that I can also put wood on top of it. Damn, this looks so much better than expected, and everything really fits perfectly inside. And this idea is really all thanks to Ethan, who is now dying from bending down too much. Now I can make a cabinet door over it to keep the dust and cobwebs out. Don't like spiders. Fit? Nope. Still have to make a cutout on both sides to get this to fit. The last handle is being put on. The very last of them. Yay! It's finally complete. Now I just need to take all the drawer fronts off and put on a coat of varnish. I am also putting a coat of wax to make them appear darker. Just a bit of afterthoughts for the lifting mechanism for the grinder. As you can see, I have added a brace across it, making a triangle, and then to lock the other end of the brace I have used a door bolt, and that just locks it in place so that it is impossible to move it back. And to release it, I just need to undo the door bolt like so, and then the brace is free to go. And as you can see, I have also added a spring to it. And now the operation is a lot smoother and safer, as the spring reduces the velocity as it falls. And with that out of the way, this project is finally complete. This took almost 2 weeks to build, which is pretty much my entire 2-week holidays. Luckily I had pretty much all the materials on hand, except for the spring. So that means that I got to clear out a lot of wood in my workshop that would be otherwise drowning me. And now I can finally get to restoring the lathe, which I really look forward to since it's been sitting around for almost a month now.